Welcome to episode number 2. We're going to be hopping into the live 1-3, maybe taking some shots at 2-5. The current bankroll is at $3,000. We've got our protein shake here. It tastes like pesto. I didn't clean up my blender. Welcome to vlog number 2.
It's been so long I didn't see you on mine. You change a lot, you look a different guy. I can't stop thinking about you since last night. Do you feel the same, feel the same, feel the same?
Alright, just wrapping up the first session of this vlog here at River Rock. We played 1-3 no limit for 4 hours. We were in for $700, cashed out for $213 for a loss of $487, our first loss on the vlog. It was a bad one. We played for 4 hours, only played 7 hands in those 4 hours. Very, very, very card dead, and we ran 2 big bluffs. Excuse me. I didn't record them, but one of the hands I had Jack of Diamonds, Jack of Clubs. Limps to us. We raise up to 15, get 2 callers onto a flop of King of Clubs, Queen of Clubs, Deuce of Spades. We range bet here, pretty small for $15, and only the player to our right calls. Turns the Ace of Spades, so now we block the nut straight draw, and we do have a gut shot. I go ahead and overbet here. I think the pot is about $60, so I make it 85. He doesn't think too long and calls. River pairs the board. It's another deuce. Flush draw doesn't complete. He checks it over to us. He's got about 140 behind, so we go ahead and jam all in. He snap calls us with Ace 8 of Clubs. So we did turn top pair, and he had the nut flush draw. I wasn't paying too much attention to his stack, so I don't actually like my turn over bet. I think 75-75 on turn and river percentage-wise would have been a lot better. A few hands later, we've rebought, and it's against the same opponent. He limps, and we raise up Ace of Diamonds, Jack of Clubs, and we get a caller to our left, and he also calls. So we're 3 ways to a flop, which comes down 5, 6, 7, 2 diamonds. Checks through. Turns good, though. We get the Queen of Diamonds. We pick up the nut flush draw, and we do have the nut flush blocker. So when it checks to us, we bet half pot, about $35. Player to our left folds, and the same player as before calls us again. River's a 10 of spades. We don't get there, but we still have the nut flush blocker. Pot is around 140, so we're going to overbet here. I bet $175, and he snap calls us with the flopped straight. Weird way to play that. But we do book a big loss. Did go for 2 big bluffs that didn't need to be done, but it is what it is. Wrapping up the first session, we did have to book a loss eventually, so here it is. Alright, let's get started. This is the first hand of the second session. We've already been here about 4 or 5 orbits, so I do decide to make a pretty loose open to the 4-3 suited. Usually this is just a fold. Raise up to 12, and only the small blind calls. Heads up to the flop, which is pretty nice. We flop the flush. When it checks to us, we're going to bet pretty small here, probably 1/3 pot, which we do, $10, and the small blind calls. Turn is the 10 of clubs. And we want to turn up the heat here. We're looking to play for stacks. We're going to need about 140% on turn and river to get all in. So we bet about $80 here. And to our surprise, the small blind check raises us to 200. This isn't a great raise when someone overbets. Like, I either have a gut shot with no diamond or a flush. Like, you're either getting stacked or you're going to get me to fold something that has no equity against you. As played, I think we're going to have to go with it. He's only got about $128 behind. If he's got a higher flush, he's got a higher flush. But I think a lot of his hands are going to be like King 10, maybe some 10-7 suited, maybe some sets. So we just go ahead and ship all in, and he thinks for quite a while before making the call. River's not good. River's really bad. It is the 10 of spades. So now we lose to higher flushes, all of those 2 pairs, and we really beat nothing at this point. Moot points, though, as he rolls over the 8-9 of diamonds. This is why you don't play 4-3 suited.
Second hand of the session, we are facing a limp, and we are under the gun plus one pocket fours. We're going to go ahead and raise this up to $15, and we go 5 ways to a flop. Looking for a little bit of help here, and it does come. We flop quads. 9-4-4. When it checks to us, I could trap, but I think any pocket pair, any 9x, any ace high will call a small bet, so I go ahead and bet $15, and we get 1 caller. Turn is the 10 of clubs, and he leads on this card for very small, 15. I could call here, but he's only got like 150 behind, and I do want to get stacks in, so I'm going to go ahead and raise this up to 50. Unfortunately, he does go ahead and fold. We table our hand for the high hand, but unfortunately, someone got pocket nines on another table about 3 hands before us. We lose out on the $185 high hand bonus. We've got pocket fours again in this hand. A short stack under the gun opens to $10, and we're going to go ahead and flat, hoping some other people can come along as well. We do get 2 more callers, so we're 4 ways to the flop. It's pretty nice. Another set. Ace 4-6 rainbow. Original raiser goes ahead and bets 15. Nothing to do here but call. We still want to let these 2 people in. Unfortunately, they both fold. Turns okay, it's an 8 of diamonds, some draws come in, but he's only got a pot size bet remaining, which he does decide to go all in with for $63. We snap call, and he's only got a gut shot, and we hold for a full house. He's got ace 7 off here, by the way. This is the final hand of the second session, and we're looking at 5 limps, and we look down at pocket kings in the big blind. We're going to raise this up pretty big here. We go up to 27, and everyone except the small blind calls. So we're 5 ways to a flop. Not what we want to see the pocket kings, but we get a pretty safe flop. Jack 8-4 rainbow. Now, very multi-way pots. I don't like to do much betting, and I've been trying to experiment with a pure check range and go from there with a check raise or check call or check fold from there, because I found that the in-position player is just stabbing at a rate of like 80 to 90% every time it's checked to them. So I go ahead and try it out this hand. Check, and it gets around to the hijack, who puts in a very small bet of 35, cutoff calls, and from here we're going to want to put in the raise. I don't think we can call this for this size. If it was a bit bigger, we might call and trap, but 3-handed, we're definitely going to want to raise this up. So we make it 140, and unfortunately, everybody folds.
Okay, wrapping up session number 2 here. We're in for 800, out for 351 for a loss of 449, bringing the bankroll down to 2049 total. Not what we want this early in the bankroll challenge, but getting the card dead sessions out of the way, and the weekend's coming up, so we're saving all the run good for that. I'll see you tomorrow.
On to the third session. This is the first hand. We're looking down at a button straddle. Small blind completes, and the big blind raises it up to $25 on top of his 3. This is a reg. He's a thinking player, and I've seen him play quite a few times. So when it folds to us, we've got king queen off. I think that we could put this in as a 3-bet bluff, so I do raise it up to $80. A lot of these high card hands really benefit from a low SPR pot anyways. Folds back to him, and he makes the call. Flop's pretty good. Flop top pair. Queen 4-2, 2 clubs. So when it checks to us, we're going to want to bet really small here. I think I could do even less than 1/3 pot, just based on how little he has behind. But I bet about $55, and he makes the call. Turn is like the worst card ever. Ace of hearts. Ace of clubs would be worse, but this is pretty bad. And when it checks to us, I think old me would have been very happy to shove here with the SPR being below 1 and, you know, celebrating when I got the fold. But if we jam here, Queen Jack's not calling, so we're not getting called by anything worse. And if he did pick up an ace on the turn, he's obviously calling, and we're just burning money. So we're going to check this turn back. River's a 7 of spades, and he goes all in here. I think for quite a while. So ace king would probably be a jam pre-flop from this guy. Ace queen is definitely one of his main holdings here. We're going to lose to ace queen here. It's going to suck. And I think that makes up quite a big majority of his range. But don't know. It's just one combo that he plays this way. I don't think he floats ace-jack or ace-10 here, except for the club combos. But does he really jam those for value on the river? I don't think so. So something just doesn't add up, and I've known this player to turn made hands into bluffs. So we are going to go with the call here, and we get shown pocket tens. I like my read there. I was expecting him to show ace-queen, but we take this one down. Nice quick hand here. Middle position limps. We raise up ace of spades, king of clubs to $15. Then we get 2 callers in the cutoff and big blind, and middle position goes ahead and sticks his whole $85 stack in there. When it comes back to us, we just want to isolate big blind cutoff are pretty deep, and I don't think they're trapping here. So we go ahead and reshove all in, cut off big blind, get out the way, and we do make top pair, top kicker on the flop, and it holds. Nice pot coming our way. So this hand is against the same player that tried to bluff us with a pocket tens, which is going to come into play here because he is raising. He does have a raise range, which most players don't, unless it's like queens plus at this stake. He limps under the gun. Player to his left raises it to 12, and I 3-bet the pocket jacks to 35. Gets back to the under the gun player, and he actually overcalls this. His range is pocket 2s to pocket 6s, maybe 7s, maybe 8s here. I think he raises 7s plus, and he's definitely not limp calling the suited connector or something like ace-jack, right? So we go 3 ways to the flop. Flop's pretty good. 9-7-2 with 2 clubs. So when it checks to us, we're going to bet pretty small here, get some value from weaker hands. When the under the gun player calls his 35, I just think he has pocket 2s every time, and I'm not going to put another fucking dollar into this pot unless jack comes. Turn. 10 of hearts. We do turn a gut shot to crack his set, but I think it's pretty close between betting and checking here anyways, and I'm just going to go with my read that he has pocket 2s. So check, check, and river is a 6 of clubs, which is really nice because now we can get to showdown and see what he actually has for free. He checks it to us. We're just going to check this back, and sure enough, he's got the pocket 2s. This hand was quite fun. There are 2 limps, and low jack raises it up to $15. We're on the button with ace queen off. We're going to go ahead and 3-bet this. We make about $50. Seems reasonable. It's a pretty strong hand, and low jack does have an opening range. Folds back to the low jack, who makes the call. Flop's pretty good. We flop top pair, top kicker on a very dry flop. So when it checks to us, we bet half pot here, which is a little bit on the big side, but I just don't think that... I think his range is pretty elastic here. He either has a queen or a pocket pair, and he's going to call at least one street. So I do size up a little bit here, just as a bit of an exploit. He makes the call. So onto a turn, 7 of spades. The pot size is a little bit awkward. We could jam here, or we could go for 2 small streets. I don't know which I like better. I do go for the former, and I bet $85. He thinks for a while, but he does let it go. This is the hand you've been waiting for. $2,200 over 700 big blinds. We've got pocket aces and some incredible pre-flop action. Let's get to it. So low jack opens it up to 10, high jack calls, and we look down at pocket aces in the cutoff. We're definitely going to go ahead and raise this up. We do to $40. Player to left is a nit. He open raised aces under the gun to $30, and then on a flop of 3-3-2 rainbow heads up, he just bet $100. Like pure nit, just doesn't want to be outdrawn. He raised it up to $80. Very good situation happening here. Small blind does not look like he's done with the hand. He is like deep in the tank, and he starts cutting out chips, and he cold 5-bets to $250. Folds back to us, and we have a decision now. If we jam here, it just looks like aces, and I think the small blind can fold his kings here pretty easily. Like, it's a 6-bet shove. So we do want to keep the small blind in, and as well as that, if there's a king on the flop, we can just fold our hand, right? We know what they have. They have pocket kings, maybe aces, and it sucks when we fold a chop, but I think it's a pretty easy fold on a king-high flop. As well, the button isn't really invited in. The guy's made his 4-bet way too large. This is over 3x.
So he's calling 170, and the most he can win is like 1.5k after his call. So it's not even getting like set mining odds. We can't call a hand like pocket queens because one of us obviously has at least kings, if not both of us. So for all those reasons, being able to fold a king high flop and to keep the small blind in to win an additional $400, we decide on a call. Button calls very quickly as well, just flicks it in. So we are hoping no king, no queen on the flop, just a nice safe flop, all low cards. We almost get it. Flop is queen high, queen 3-2, so we do have to be worried about pocket queens here, although I think it's more likely that we're up against, two of us have kings or two of us have aces and the other one has kings. I just can't really see queens in the mix here too often. Small blind does go ahead and jam. We're either chopping with him or he's got kings, so we're crushing him. Button could have queens. I don't know though. He's doing the thing where he's like looking away, disinterested, and I wish I was looking at him to see if he actually saw the flop before it came down. Because when they take a look at the flop and then quickly look away, usually means they hit it pretty hard. But he's just looking disinterested as if he's done in the hand. And I don't want to take too long and tank and slow roll the small blind, so I go ahead and toss my call in. Button snap calls. So we announce our hand, we show pocket aces, small blind hides his hand, and the button says, I've got the queens. Turn brings us a little bit of help. 5 of spades, we do turn a gut shot. And the river, 6 of spades. We are going to lose this $2,200 pot. Aces, kings, queens. Ouch.
That's going to wrap up the third session of the vlog. Run Bad is unfortunately still here to stay. Another very, very, very card dead session. We actually went through 3 dealer changes and only played 1 hand. That aces hand, let's talk about that. I don't regret my decision at all to flat there. I think a jam might have pushed the button out of the hand, potentially, but I don't have a 5-bet or 6-bet range pre-flop, or post-flop for that matter. It just looks like aces, and we're not getting any more money in. I think that kings can easily make a laydown there. When the flop comes queen high, it does suck, but they could both have kings. One of them might have aces as well. I don't think we can let that go. Yeah. Hoping for some better sessions in the future. I'll see you in the next one.
I know I'm everything you pray for, my love. Been waiting too long to find in the one. I would do everything you ask in my love. Look in my eyes, I know it needs time. I know I'm everything you.
Wrapping up session 4 of the vlog here. In for 400, out for 482. So we break the losing streak. We played 3 hours, so close to 10 big blinds per hour, which is nice. Unfortunately, the card dead run is still here to stay. Over the 3 hours, we played ace 10 off, ace queen off, 10 8 of spades, ace 5 of clubs, and pocket nines for, what was that, 5 hands over 3 hours. It's like less than 10% VPIP, but we are going to keep grinding away, and I will see you in session number 5.
Position raised to 15, hijack calls, folds to us, we call as well, and the limper also calls. So 4 ways to a flop, which is beautiful. Flop the nuts, Broadway. We check it over to the original raiser, who puts it up at a 30. We get a caller. I don't know if I want to raise or just call and let everyone in. It's a pretty dry flop. I think trapping is the main play, so we call, and so does the limper. Pretty cool. 4 ways to the turn, which is a brutal card. 10 of clubs. Now there's a flush draw on board. It's getting a bit wet. When we check it over again, mid-position player unfortunately doesn't bet, and the hijack puts out a tiny little bet of $25. I think it's time to spring the trap now. We raise it up pretty small, only about 130, but unfortunately everyone folds. Okay, so in this hand, button straddle is live, and we're in the small blind with 8-7 of clubs. Definitely going to want to raise this up. We go ahead to about 3x, $18.
and we get the under the gun, and I think a mid position call. So we're 3 ways to a flop. Comes down all right. It's queen, 9, 4, rainbow with 1 club. I definitely think we can barrel here. They're both a little bit short, so I do want to set up a turn shove on any sort of 8, 7, 6, 5, 10, or club. We can definitely shove with our picked up equity. So I bet pretty big here, 45. Under the gun calls, and middle position gets out of the way. Turn's pretty good, 6 of spades, so we turn an open-ender. Look at my opponent, he's got maybe just a bit over $100, so we are definitely going to go with a hand here, and we go all in. He thinks for quite a while, and ultimately decides on a fold. Happy to take that one down. So in this hand, we're against a player that bet $25 when it checked to him when we had flopped the straight. A little bit tight player. Seems to really like these $25 bets. So button straddles on, folds to him, and he does a min raise to $10. Player to his left calls, and we look down at ace queen of hearts. Definitely going to want to raise this up, especially versus such a small sizing. We make it $45. Folds back to the villain who makes the call, and so does the other player. 3 ways to a flop. Doesn't come out great. Jack 9, 3 rainbow. When it checks to us, could go either way. We do have some backdoors if we wanted to barrel. But, you know, medium boards, they're going to connect pretty well here. So we're just going to check this one back and try and get to showdown as cheap as possible. Turns the 4 of spades. Doesn't change much. We're not going to change our plan. We're just going to check back again. River's pretty good. Ace of diamonds. Nice. He leads out on this card, which a lot of live players do. They don't realize that like king or ace is going to hit my range very hard. And they just kind of go like, oh, you know, I've got ace 7 off. I'm going to lead here. So he bets 25. As we've seen before, this bet was quite weak. I've also seen this player like in the $27 raised hand. He had like ace 7 off for like $27 pre-flop. So I know he raised pre, but I can just still see him having a lot of weaker ace X. And we're going to attack this bet because we did it before, and maybe he thinks we're bluffing and he'll call us light. I even think he might even call us with some like weaker ace X. So we go for the maximum, we go all in, and he doesn't think for too long and tosses in the call. Fortunately, he did turn us. He's got pocket 4s for a turn set. Okay, so this hand we were playing against an absolute maniac. He is calling down people extremely light, getting very lucky. He's built up a massive, massive stack. He's got like almost $3,000 in front of him, and he open raises at $25. We look down at pocket ace at the cutoff. We're loving life. We are going to 3-bet this. He's never folding. We make it $75. Folds back to him, and he makes the call. Very nice flop. 9-9-2. We have the diamond blocker. And when he checks to us, we're going to bet quite small here, probably 1/3 pot. Yeah, $50. And he makes the call. Turns pretty nice as well. 4 of clubs, doesn't change much. When he checks to us, we could go either way with jamming here. I don't want him to fold out his ace high, so I'd rather do a small bet, and maybe he just continues thinking we have ace king if he's got like pocket 6s or something. So I bet small, $100, and he asks me how much I have behind. I tell him, which sounds pretty good, and he goes all in. All right, I call, of course. I table my hand. I've got pocket aces. He shows us pocket jacks, so a little bit of a cooler for him. Unfortunately, the river. Ouch. We are going to lose this one. Ouch. All right, in this hand, the button straddle is on. Small blind completes, and the big blind raises it up to 23. He's been raising absolute junk, like 7-4 offsuit, just absolute garbage. Under the gun +1 calls, and when it folds to us, we've got 8-9 suited in the cutoff. We're probably pretty good against his range. We're going to go ahead and call. We're multi-way in position. Button folds and small blind calls. We're 4-handed to a flop of king 8-5 with 1 spade. Checks to him. He puts out a bet of half pot. This man only bets half pot. Like, only bets half pot. Every single time, too. So he bets 55. Folds to us. Easy call here against this specific player. So we make the call. Turn's really nice. 9 of hearts. Puts out a flush draw, straight draw. And this man, of course, bets half pot again. We don't have too much behind if we make the call, and we just want to, get the money in. I think he's probably got King X here, so we don't want a flush completing card or like a 10 or a 6 or 7 to come on the river kill our action, so we just ship it here. And honestly, I don't even really want the call here. When you've been running this bad, like what is this? He's got to call 151, and our expected EV, if he calls, is only like probably $55 or so. He tanks for a very, very, very long time, so I'm guessing he's only got like pocket queens or 10s or jacks or something. Like tanks for like 3 minutes and eventually decides on a call. River, brutal. It's the 5 of clubs. Yeah. And our read that he has King X was correct. King of hearts, Queen of diamonds, and we are going to get stacked again in this session. Bad way to end this one off, but on to the next session.
That's going to wrap up session 5 of this vlog. In for 900, unfortunately out for 0. Got river twice. Stings, it stings. The run bad is here to stay. We're going to take a couple days off poker. It's been a pretty brutal run so far. Good news, we weren't card dead today, so it's nice that that was over. We're going to be mixing in some micro stakes tournaments again, just build up the bankroll a bit, and maybe play a live session here and there. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.
So this is the 6th and final session, and onto the first hand. Looking at a couple limps, cutoff raises it up to $10, and we've got ace queen off on the button. We're going to go ahead and 3-bet this to $35. The big blind overcalls, and so does the cutoff player. So we're 3 ways to a flop, which comes down pretty nice. Flop top pair, good kicker, ace 9 5 2 diamonds. So when it checks to us, we are going to put out a bet here. I want to size it so I can jam turn, so I do go size up a little bit here. I think I go like 50-60%. Yeah, $65. Big blind gets out of the way, and cutoff makes the call. So on to the turn, looking for no diamond, and we get a 3 of hearts. Pretty nice turn. When it checks to us, I think there's only one sizing that makes sense here. Try and target his ace jack, ace 10, maybe some of his weaker suited ace X that he's just unable to fold, so we go all in here. Thinks for a little bit, but does make the fold. Okay, we've got pocket 8s under the gun. Definitely going to open this up. Strong enough hand. We raise it up to 12, and we get 2 callers, and flop is pretty nice. Ace 8-4 with 2 clubs, and we have a club blocker, so a pretty good situation developing here. We're going to start off with a pretty decent bet, just over half pot, $25, and cutoff folds, and the button calls. Onto the turn, which is the queen of clubs. We do have the 8 of clubs, so we're not too worried. Button does cover us, so getting check raise does kind of suck here, but we can still call. So I'm going to go ahead and bet half pot. We don't want to let, ace jack with a jack of clubs peel a card here. And we do want to get value from any hand that's like a 2 pair or such. So we bet 45. Button thinks for quite a while, but unfortunately does let it go. Final hand of the vlog here. We have ace of clubs, jack of hearts in the cutoff. Facing a low jack limp, we're obviously going to raise this up. We do so to $15, and we go 3 ways to a flop. 10-9-6 with 2 hearts is a very, very, very wet flop. So when it checks to us, we're going to be wanting to use a smaller sizing. We bet 1/3 here, about $15. This hand has a lot of good turns that it can barrel on and bluff. Both players call, and we're off to the turn, which comes pretty nice. 7 of hearts. So we pick up a gutter and a flush draw, and this is a great card to keep barreling on. Only really an 8 or a high flush draw can continue. So when it checks to us, we're going to bet about half pot here, and the big blind makes the call. Off to the river, which is a pretty interesting one. 8 of hearts, so we do make a flush. 9 of hearts does beat us with a straight flush. Checks to us, and I take quite a bit of time here, and I'm wondering if I can bet this for value. But does he even have anything lower in his range, like a 5, 4, 3, 2 of hearts? I don't think so. And I'm pretty worried he's got the straight flush here. And I just don't think that Jack X is going to call here. So ultimately, I do decide on just checking it back. He mucks, so we are going to take that one down. That is it for the final 6th session of the vlog. We're in for 250, out for 330. Quite a short session. I started to feel a little bit sick, so called it early. Ordered some hot and sour soup. That'll help out. Thank you so much for watching the vlog. We're going to end this bankroll challenge with $934. Less than 1% of the way there. We got a grind to go, but the upswing's coming. We'll see you in the next video.